Porta Marghera has always been an interesting expansion or addition to the possible sites for the curator. It's not in the main city, it's in the mainland, it's in a park. Talking to the Biennale team, I realized that actually the park itself is very frequently used by families who live there for children to play. I thought, what if we actually create a mini Biennale for children? And to think of the theme of play as being another dimension of bringing us together. And after all, the most important places of the imagination happen in play. Children, when they play games, they create spaces, they set up rules around these spaces, and then they enact possible ways of living together. And we've invited 5 architects in order to create a Biennale for children.
I really looked at the word we as a part of how do we play, and that stems from my research at the University of Michigan, which is in creating environments using textiles, designing and engineering textiles. But it also very closely connects to my personal life. I have a daughter, her name is Ada, and she has autism spectrum disorder. And as a part of that, she's nonverbal, so communication is a challenge. But what she does is she's this really creative individual, and she kind of uses people and the environment and things and objects to communicate with. So I really wanted to create something that was very open and malleable and abstract. So instead of someone thinking, oh, that's a slide, there's no other way to use it but a slide, somebody can look at this and just scratch their head and wonder, how do I make it my own?
This structure is called minus 313.9 level. We had this idea to create an equilibrium, a new equilibrium between human and human, between human and nature. And since the trees are so present here, we thought about creating a new ground zero, a new ground level, and to elevate the people above the existing one. So we actually created this staircase, and at the end there is a seat. And it's also it's a challenge on the regular standard of a seat, of a chair, that is usually 45 centimeters above ground. So this ground level of the seat, this height, is totally related to the trees and not to the ground.
Our piece represents an obstacle which can be perceived as negative, but also it represents play and playfulness as a positive way how to overcome obstacles. From the other side, the piece is formed by declining and reclining platforms that allow you to overcome the obstacle and play with it.
When you're facing the problem and you are standing in front of the problem, and then you can turn around, you can go around, or you can go into the problem. If you go through our installation, on the other side there's a place for community. So on one side of the path there is an obstacle, and on the other side there is a place for gathering and to be together.
What you see here are the first 2 parts of a whole series of 8 elements. So we had a workshop in Switzerland when adults and some kids were building it up. The rest of the elements will be built also together with school kids.
We thought it is very sad if all this material comes and then one does not know what to do. So this will now go to Croatia in a temporary camp after the earthquake to function there as a playground. So it's something which was created in different parts and found its first life here, and will have a second life then in Croatia in a temporary city after the earthquake.